Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name is Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It is a very crispy, cold winter's morning today. The sun is out. It's looking really beautiful. So I haven't even started the fire here in the shed today. I had it on yesterday, but I think once the sun starts to come through the windows, it is going to be actually really quite warm in here. And I'm really looking forward to spending the day over here doing a few bits and pieces. Just coming up on the end of my second week of school holidays. So I do go back to work next week. So I'm really going to savor these next couple of days before we get back into things. I've done quite a bit this week, a few things around my garden and the front of the house. I planted some new, just colourful flowers into my little pots that I have on the deck. A few of them had died, so I trimmed all that back, took out the ones that had finished and planted some new bright fresh colour, which is really nice. I also bought myself a deck brush and I spent quite a bit of time brushing all of the lichen that had grown on the decking off and actually like scrubbing the deck itself. I've only done like half of the ramps so far, but it was getting to the point where I would step on it, and especially with these icy mornings, I would step on it and it would be so slick and slippery that I was really worried that I was going to take a fall. Like I could feel myself going out from underneath. I had to quickly like stop and grab hold of the railings. So I did quite a lot of scrubbing with the bristled brush and a mixture of vinegar and water. And it seems to have taken off the sort of coating that had been on there that had built up over time of like lichen and dirt. I'm going to need to do it again. The trouble with where my deck is, it doesn't get, at this time of the year especially, doesn't get much sunlight, and so it doesn't get dry completely. So I'm not going to be able to oil it yet. So my thought is if I just scrub it down a few more times and make sure that it is not having a layer on there, then once it gets into sort of spring and summer, I can then do a proper like high pressure wash, get it dry, and then put a new coat of decking oil on there. We have had quite a bit more rain in amongst some really beautiful sunny days, and our dam is starting to look really full. A picture came up on my memories of this time last year, and our dam was almost completely dry. It was just a few little puddles. And from then through to this winter, Adam has been working on digging it out and making it deeper, reinforcing the dam wall, putting in an overflow pipe so that the pressure won't build up, and when it gets to a level, it will go through the pipe instead of going either over the top of wall or like breaking through the wall. And it looks like all of that hard work is finally paying off, and the dam is looking really amazing. The frogs that are croaking down there at the moment is insane. It is so loud, which is exciting and nice. We're getting a lot of ducks and other water birds down there. Also because we've had the trees planted around it, so it is now like a nice place for animal habitat. So that's been really nice to see as we've been getting more of this rain. I've actually also done some yarn dyeing this week for the first time in quite a while. And I have a few things that I can show you. First, I'll show you the sock yarn that's actually dry, and then I've got a few other bases that are still a bit damp. I've got them in the sun now on drying racks, and I'm hoping that they will be able to be reskeined and put away either today or tomorrow. So I have done some fuchsia on my lattice sock base. This is one of the very first colorways that I ever dyed up, and I still love it so much. It's sort of got bright pinks and then lighter pinks and goes into purple. It is yeah, I don't know. It's still one of my favorites, I would have to say. Partly probably because it was the first colorway that I sold, and it still comes up the same as it did way back then. So my recipes thank goodness, are accurate enough to be able to repeat over and over. So I've also done some of that on DK as well because I was a bit inspired. So I feel like this is a really lovely spring colorway, and I will be having this at my next market, which is in Romsey, and I'll put the details on the screen because I don't remember what the date is, but I don't think it's until September. I also had a bit of a play with some sock yarn. I have my dye powder in little containers. I don't buy a lot of dye powder. Some dyers buy it in much bigger containers, but I go through my dye powder very slowly because I dilute my stocks to a particular level, which is a lot lighter than a lot of others, because of the sort of the pastel light feel that I have. And what I do is then mix those colors together to make more. So I have these little containers, and when I get to the end of one, I kind of tip what I can into the next one to kind of keep the color as similar as possible, like mixing the dye powders together. And then whatever's left in the little container, I leave sitting for a while. And when I have a variety of different colors, I then just put water into them, shake them up, and I tip them over some yarn and make some one-of-a-kind batches. So I did a little video of tipping the dyes on. And this is what it became. So it's primarily like a light orangey yellow, and it's got some sections of blue and green and some pinks and purples. Just really fun and a little bit different from my regular dye style, just by throwing some color into the pot. What I've tried to do, the way that I've done that batch, so there's only 7 skeins of this, and they are all as similar as possible. I've distributed the color across all of the skeins in kind of the same way, so that hopefully if you just order one, you're going to get basically, rather than like throwing some on one corner and some on the other corner and having each skein be completely different. So I'll be putting these up in the shop. Hopefully by the time you see this video, this will be live in the shop as well. I don't know that they're going to have a color name or what I'm going to call them, but they are a one-of-a-kind batch. As well as the DK fuchsia, I also have done some DK in lilac. So I need to get this dry. I've had some custom orders for this, so I need to get that reskeined and sent out soon as well. And then I played around with my Aura base, the 8-ply brushed merino, trying some of my recipes that I've used on other bases to see how they would come out on the Aura. So I have done some mocha. It's, there you go. It's got a bit more, it is brown, but it's coming out a little bit dark and a bit flat on the screen from what I can see. It's got a bit more depth to it. There's some variation in the brown, but that looks white, but in the skein it doesn't look white. So mocha, and then I did some sea green. Ooh, that's really blowing out. It's not as that. It's a much that kind of evens it out a little bit. So it is still a bright green, but it's not eye-searing bright. So that was fun to play around with, and I'm going to do a few more semi-solids like this, I think, on the Brushed Merino, because I think that will make really nice garments with. I've been wearing my Avena jumper quite a bit, or cardigan quite a bit, and it is so comfortable and so warm, and I am thinking about something else that I might make with the same base again. So perfect winter outfit. First of what I'm wearing this week, this is the flax worsted edition in white gum wool and an unknown wool, which feels very much like white gum, which I got from Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show ages and ages ago, and a matching hat. This is I think it's called the Ophelia. I'll put the details below. I don't remember the name. And this was the first colorwork hat that I did using both hands and making sure that I was only knitting continental, and I'm really pleased with how it came out. It was a little short, but still does the job, and it was fun to put on the matching colors today. In my farm life, I forgot to mention that one of the things I did this week was to catch up with some of my knitting friends. We went to a pub in Kilmore, which is only about an hour and 15-minute drive away from here. So it was a beautiful sunny day that day as well, which was nice. So headed out and enjoyed a beautiful sunny drive. Had lunch and spent the afternoon sitting and knitting. I only took socks, which I will show you in a minute. I took other things, but I didn't knit on any of the other things. And had a really lovely time. And I think part of what's nice about knitting in the community is being able to share what you're up to and what you're doing, and to help each other out and get inspired. So it was really lovely to catch up with those friends. So the thing that I worked on at the pub, so that I didn't make any mistakes and could knit and not really even pay attention, was my bed socks that I've been working on. These are in Zilana Cozy in the Berry Bramble colorway. This is the second one, and I had already turned the heel before I went to the pub, and I got quite a bit of this cuff done. As I said, I really don't even need to look at my knitting to do this. So while we were chatting, I was able to just knit round and round. I'm really enjoying knitting on the Addy Trios. It has gotten me back into my knitting mojo, I think, of socks, that is. So, so I'm making good progress on those, and I'm looking forward to getting these done soon so that I have nice, cozy bed socks. Oh, what I didn't mention about those, and which I often forget to talk about, is that I use the Fish Kiss Lips heel pattern for my socks. I do them toe up, and I now know my numbers and just increase to the number that I know is going to fit my foot, and knit up, do a short row heel, and then keep going with the sock. I will put a link to the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern below. And I find that for me now, I don't even have to refer to the pattern at all, especially for a pair of socks for myself, knowing my size. And I think that's the best way to knit socks in the end, just to know your numbers and just to be able to go and go. I'm going to show you what I've finished now. So I have actually finished my EXP. It I've woven in all of the ends, even though there's bits sticking out of it everywhere, but it is finished except for getting a block. I wanted to show it to you before I blocked it, just from a size point of view, and I'm going to take some photos of myself with it on and then do like a, results of blocking picture afterwards as well. But if I finished doing the Italian bind off on this yesterday, and it felt like it took me the whole week to do. I timed myself. For the first half, it took me 2 hours and 40 minutes or something for half of the stitches. And then I forgot to time myself for the second half. So it probably would have been about that amount again. There were a couple of spots where I realized that I had messed up the pattern. So I had to pull it back and figure out where I was up to and do it again. So it probably took me longer than that. So yes, I've done a lot of not knitting on this week. I think I did a few more rows of the color, and then I did the little twisted rib hem. So I wanted to show it to you unblocked because I literally finished it yesterday, and I thought if I block it today, it's going to be sitting wet and I wouldn't be able to show it off. I love how this has turned out. The colors are so beautiful. It is done in the Louie and Lola Callow kit, which is still available on her website. The contrast color is the Callow, and the color that you can see on the hems is the bronze, and that's the background color throughout. I've made the third size, and I hardly broke into my second skeins of each of the colors. I used them for the sleeves and hardly used any at all. And I used pretty much every single bit of the bronze and the callow on the body. I just had a few grams left of the bronze at the end after I'd finished the bind off. I made quite a few modifications to this. I knit it inside out. So I was knitting every second row and then purling into the stitch below, rather than purling every second stitch and knitting into the stitch below. And I'm not sure if it was quicker, but I felt like in my mind it was, because every second row I just got to knit around. Which meant I had to modify the increases and the decreases. So the increases, because you had to do it to make sure that it all lined up. See how that contrast all lines up. So I had to do the increases on the purl rounds, not on the knit rounds, and the decreases down the side and in the arms, I didn't do quite to pattern. I ended up doing them slightly wrong, but I don't think you can really tell. I did them on the contrast color and instead of on the no, I did them on the main color instead of on the contrast color, but I think that overall you really can't tell that much. I think it's knitted pretty much in terms of the sleeves to pattern. I think I knit a little bit extra on the body than it calls for, just because I wanted it a little bit longer, and I made it as long as one of my other jumpers. I am going to stretch it width-wise a little bit, but I think I'm going to get some width and some length once I block it. So it's also, being short sleeves, it's really not the jumper to be wearing at this time of year. It's quite light, so I think it's more going to be a transition piece, and I'm looking forward to maybe putting it over the top of some skirts and dresses. Will definitely be cute with jeans. So I will show it to you again once it's blocked and finished and I can wear it and show it to you, but that may not be next week. So it was really nice to finish that. That was one of the yarns that I got at Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show last year. and its Bendigo Sheep and Wool show next weekend. So, I mean, and technically I didn't buy it there. I did a swap with my friend Amy. She had bought it at a previous sheep show and she decided that she wasn't going to make it and wasn't all that thrilled with the colors. So I gave her some yarn and she gave me that kit. So it technically was a Bendigo Sheep Show acquisition, and I've been able to get it done within the year. And it is something that I'd been wanting to make for quite a while, so it's nice to have that ticked off the list. I have cast on something else, and I think today I might even start another project. Why not? So, as a sort of a palette cleaner, I decided that I would cast on a Sophie shawl, or no, Sophie. I think it's a Sophie scarf technically. Disclaimer though, I haven't bought the pattern. I've just sort of reverse engineered it. It's a pretty basic design, really. So it is a scarf. I'm doing increases. I don't know what the Sophie Scarf pattern increase rate is, but I'm increasing every 8 rows. I'm using my Aura base, the Brushed Merino. I can't speak. Brushed Merino in the River colorway. And when I get to about halfway, I will start to do some decreases. So I am increasing, as I said, every 8 rows. So it starts really narrow. It's got an I-cord edge on both sides. And I have done this since yesterday. So it's already about the length of my arm. So it's going to end up being quite long. And I'm not sure how wide I actually want it. So I might get to a point where maybe probably double this. And then I'm just going to keep it at that width and not decrease until I get to half of the ball. And then I'll start decreasing again. I think that might be the best approach because otherwise, I think it might end up being super wide and super long, and I want it to be something that's going to be really easy to just wrap around the neck over and over again and have really nice and snuggly, and I don't want it to get too tall. But that's been fun, just garter stitch and some increases every once in a while, and it's really easy to keep track of the increase. So I've got a little clip marker that I have here, and when I have 4 garter ridges, I just do my next increase and move the clip up. A couple of times last night while I was watching TV, I forgot to move the marker, so maybe I need to do 2 markers so that I've got one below, so if I need to I can count, but I have been able to figure it out as I go. And to be honest, an increase either side of where it should be is actually not that bad anyway. And as I said, I am planning to cast something else new on today. I want to make myself another jumper. And my family's going to say, Ros, you have way too many jumpers. And I probably do. But I have been wearing them a lot more, and a lot more just around the farm and around the house and out, rather than keeping them for special occasions. So, I mean, something like this, I really do need to get my depiler out and give it a good shave. But that is the point of wearing them, right? Like, wear them until you can't wear them anymore. There's no point sitting them in a cupboard and not. I know one of my friends, she's made a whole ton of jumpers, and there's some of them that she no longer wants or needs, and she is destashing those. She's selling them online, and I think that's a really great thing because then she can continue to knit new ones, and she can get some money to buy some more yarn with the proceeds of the ones that she's finding new homes for. So far, I'm not at that point, but I am, as I said, wearing my jumpers a lot more, and I'm sort of trying to plan my outfits a bit better so that I do wear them more often. So my plan is, and I've been showing you this yarn for a few weeks now, this is some silver thread that I got from a friend's destash, and this is, I think it's called Rainbow Yarns. Obviously, it's just a grey. I bought it from a market in Hobart. It was in the cruise ship terminal market that they have there sometimes. and it is a merino alpaca blend. It is a 4-ply. It's got a slight halo, but not very much. And I think these two together are going to be really pretty. So I have done some swatching. I did it on a 4 to begin with, and I didn't like the fabric. It was a little bit too thick. So now I have done a swatch on a 4.5. I've ripped the swatch out, but I've done a swatch, and I think that's a much nicer fabric. So I was looking for patterns that sort of had a yoked top with some detail around the top, and then sort of go down into a more plain jumper. Now I couldn't, as I've said and expressed my frustration here before, you know when you've got something in your head and you just cannot find that exact thing. Anyway, what I found instead is the Galan pattern. I think that's how you say it, by Marie Amelie Designs, and I've made a couple of her other tops before, and I like the way she writes, and I like the way that they fit. She's a quite petite person, so I can look at the model photo and see how it's going to fit on me. The version, the actual pattern, I mean, it's a free pattern, and it's for a DK, so I'm not quite getting a DK gauge with this. So I've done some maths. I've used Tash from Mostly Knitting's tutorial on how to choose a pattern based on your gauge. And I am going to be knitting I think I'm going to knit the 3rd, maybe the 4th size. I'm going to cast on and see. I think the cast on number, the cast on number is the same for the 3rd and the 4th size, and the first few rounds are the same as well. So I don't really have to commit to a size until I get through quite a few of the increases. So I am going to cast on and see how it turns out. I think it's quite pretty. It's got these twisted cable lace kind of motif details that start at the top, and as you increase, they get further apart. It does go all the way down the jumper. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet. I'm thinking maybe I will stop them like at the end of the yoke, or maybe stop some shorter and keep some going. As again, I'll see how I'm going when I get down there. But I think what I'll do is do all of the to about here, and then maybe put in a garter ridge line, and then just knit stockinette, and maybe do one of the detailed cables all the way down the sleeve. That's the vision I have in my head. So I'm excited to start that and see if what I have now kind of formulated is going to work out. And I am enjoying my little in-between projects where I don't have to think so much. It's good to have those on the go that are portable and where my hands can go into autopilot, and then I'll have this as a project that I have to do a little bit more focusing on until I get down to the stockinette part. I will not be going to the Bendigo Ship and Wool Show this year, which is next weekend, and I'm going to miss it. I know I will, but I don't think I'm going to regret not going. It's always a really lovely time. I have gone with the same group of friends for a number of years now, and we always really have a great time. Of course, it's wool and yarn and knitting and all of those things blended together, as well as spending time chatting the whole day. But we've all decided this year that we don't need to go. We've been doing our own little catch-ups, and as I spoke about earlier, and we're all at a point where we're very happy with our stashes and very happy with the yarn that we have, and working through that. Not to say that I wouldn't buy a whole lot of stuff if I did go, which is part of the reason that I don't think I can even just go and look, because I have so many friends there that will be selling that I would want to support. And there's always so many beautiful kits and new releases and things that really inspire me, that I would for sure spend more money. And it would then sit in my stash and stare at me. And I've been trying really hard, as you've seen, to work on grabbing things from my own stash to use. And that is really giving me a lot of joy at the moment. And I would like to get my stash down just a little bit more. And also, I go to plenty of other markets where I am selling yarn, and I'm always tempted to buy things there. So I still have opportunity to buy things at other markets throughout the year. So I wish everyone the best of luck if you are selling at Bendigo this year. I hope it is a really great 3-4 days for you with all of the setup and pack down and everything as well. And if you're going as a shopper, make sure to stay warm, go with a bit of a shopping list, wear comfortable clothes, take a bottle of water, and have a wonderful time. I will be living vicariously through all of you on Instagram. I have already started to see some really lovely things, and I am sure that there will be lots of haul videos to check out and videos of people's experiences there, and I will be loving to see all of that. My plan for next weekend is to hopefully have a lovely sunny here and to sit in the shed and knit and work on that new cast on that I've been talking about. And I will probably regret it that I have not gone, but also not. I know that sounds very conflicted, but I'm sure you know what I mean. If I would not, I know I would have a great time if I did go, but I don't need to go in order to sort of feel some of that fun and inspiration by looking at other things on Instagram and by doing a little shop of my stash and looking at things that I have previously purchased from Bendigo. So I hope you will have a really wonderful time there, and it is a great event for everyone. Well, that's it for the week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm.